Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Allison, and today I have a new layout that I created using the Currently Story Kit. I'm still waiting on the right story kit to arrive. I'm hoping it will be here next week. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm watching the mail already. Hoping it does show up a little sooner, fingers crossed. But it'll likely be next week. So to fill in the gap, I thought that I would just continue on with the Currently Story Kit. What I actually did in this layout today was combine the Awesome Story Kit with the Currently to create like a hybrid layout just between the two kits. So I took one of the sparkly chipboard phrases from the Awesome kit, which says awesome, and it is going to be attached to my layout base over top of the journaling. I'm working on that right now, just trying to figure out what size I want this pattern paper to be to fit on the right hand side of the layout base, which, by the way, the layout base is just plain white cardstock. It is textured, and I trimmed it down from a 12 by 12 piece of paper to 7 inches by 8 1/4 long. That's the same size as a standard page protector from Ali Edwards. This layout is not going to be in a page protector, at least this part of it. There is going to be a secondary part of it that will be inside the page protector, but you'll see that in just a few minutes. So while I'm working on the right-hand side, I also thought that I would adhere my photo to the left-hand side of the layout because nothing else really is going to be going over on that side of the layout. I am going to add another embellishment over top of the photo, but that's coming in a minute. The main part that I wanted to focus on is on the right-hand side. With the pattern paper adhered to the top of the page, which, by the way, is 2 inches long, no, 2 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches long. So it fills in the gap between my photo and the far right-hand side of the layout. I wanted to use the quotation marks that were included in the Currently Story Kit. They are blue and white, so on screen it looks kind of hard to see. You can see the blue lines through it, but because it's white, it kind of blends into the background. There's one there near the top of the page, just below the pattern paper, and then the other one is going at the bottom of the layout. I don't know if I've got that one down yet. I think I do. I used liquid glue to adhere them both, and right now I'm working on a phrase that came from the Awesome Story Kit. They were on little sheets that were tear away. I used liquid glue to adhere that. And as you can see, I am working on this awesome phrase now using liquid adhesive to adhere that to the layout too. There is a little arrow that's going to be adhered on top of awesome. You can see that right there. That did not come with any of the kits. I created it myself using my Cricut. I used the write and the cut function. So technically, this could be a three-way hybrid because I used the write function to create the word currently, and I used black ink, by the way, to write it. So it would work with the write story kit prompt and the Awesome Story Kit prompt and the Currently Story prompt. Pretty smart. I adhered that little arrow I attached it to the layout with some foam squares just to give it a little bit of dimension. And now I am completing the far left-hand side of the layout. I'm using one of these, I don't know if they're acetate, it's not acetate, plastic, we'll say, shapes from one of the shapes scrapbooking kits that Ali had last year in 2021. It says memories across it. I used red line tape to adhere it. One of these days I'm going to learn that red line tape is fantastic for attaching things together, but when you are using an opaque embellishment, it's not so good. So you can see the adhesive through it once it's done. It kind of irks me, but it is what it is. It's attached. It's attached to photo, so I don't want to pull it off because I don't want to wreck the photo. I should have stapled it. That's why I say one of these days I will learn. The adhesive is great, but it's not for everything. Okay, so the main part of the page is done. As you can see, the journaling was printed on it as well. I just used my computer to type it out and then printed it using my home printer. Now I'm working on an insert that's going along with this layout. I had multiple photos that I wanted to scrapbook. This story is from a trip that the girls and I recently made down south to visit my sister. And while we were visiting, we decided to have Japanese. We have never eaten Japanese before this, so it was an adventure and an experience, and one that I am so grateful that we were able to take part in. I'm not a fan of sushi. I'll say that right now. And actually my journaling does say that as well. But we really enjoyed the evening. My girls love sushi, by the way. We also love mochi. And I, in particular, absolutely love miso ramen. If the photo, the large photo that I used on the other page looks familiar, that is because it is. I used it in another layout, and I believe that I shared it here in my last video. If you'd like to check that out, I will leave a link in the description box down below so you can find it. I also have playlists, or a playlist of all the layouts that I've created using the story prompts. And I'll leave a link down below for that as well. So if you'd like to check it out, it's easy to find. So because I'm using a little page protector, it's a 2-pocket 3x4 inch page protector, and I had 3 photos. I needed to fill in the last little pocket so it wasn't sitting empty. So I just took another scrap piece of white cardstock, trimmed it down to 3x4 inches, and then used some of the same pattern paper from the main part of the layout to decorate this little 3x4 inch rectangle. So that pattern paper measures 2 inches tall by 3 inches wide. And then over top of that, I adhered one of the chipboard embellishments from the Currently kit. And then on top of that, on the page protector, I added another little chipboard shape just to decorate that. And then the photos, I thought I would just dress up a little bit with some of the phrase stickers that came with the Currently story kit. I'm just trying to figure out which ones I wanted to use here. I couldn't tell you right now which ones I all chose, but it had to do with eating. So it was things like trying this and then this evening. Yes, for the high chew. If you've never had high chew and if you have never ever tried miso ramen, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. I've also learned, little side note, if you try ramen, the real thing, the authentic ramen, the recipe, the chef that makes it, they're different everywhere you go is what I'm trying to say, because each chef has his own little, or her, their own little hack or trick for putting their own spin on it. So what I had at Kinjo will be different from like Edo Japan or, wherever else you go. But anyways, the bottom line is it was fantastic. And mochi, my word. Seriously, the weekend when we went down to Calgary to visit my sister was incredible. Not just because of Comic-Con, which is the main reason we went, but also because of our encounter with international cuisine, I will say. It was fantastic. So that brings me to the end of this layout, friends. I added one more little phrase down at the bottom from those tearaway sheets. I added the date as well. Here are the close-ups. Feel free to stick around for those. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you are returning to my channel, I'm really glad that you chose to hang out with me for a bit. I will hopefully be back with another layout very soon. Take care, friends.